So I got out here tonight, popped new pinion seal in the differential. I didn't record anything about that. It actually came out pretty easy. Just use the impact wrench on the a pneumatic impact wrench on the pinion nut. It popped or backed off pretty nice and easy. I did mark it and took a measurement from the end of the pinion shaft to the edge of the nut, so I knew exactly where to put it back onto. The hardest part was getting the old seal out. Well, actually that wasn't too bad, but getting the new seal in and getting it pounded in. I'm sure most people know how tough it is to get a new seal pounded in, especially if you don't have something that fits right around the circumference of that seal. So I just used the kind of the blunt end of an impact socket anyway to not mar up the seal too bad, the edges of the seal, and knocked it in. And then I realized I need some bolts to bolt the drive shaft to the pinion flange. So I did mess around with the clutch cable. I don't really like how it's mounted. And I think this is the stock Fox length, and I heard like the 94, 95 cables are longer. So I'll end up swapping that out at one of these points. But I did get a bolt here to bolt it to the cylinder head and just kind of changed up that bracket. Drilled a hole in it and got a bolt that screwed into that cylinder head. So I like how it's routed. It's just really snug everywhere. And I'm just not really a fan of that. So I might look into a different clutch cable for that and see if I can get a longer one. And it's really close to the header down here too. It's within about an inch there. But it's in there, it'll function. I don't think I showed this, but I got all the rear suspension, drivetrain, brakes are all together. Brake pads are in there. I went to start working on the front and I thought I ordered the right brake pads, but they're about 1.5 inches too long to fit into these Brembos, so obviously ordered the wrong ones. So I'm trying to figure out what the right ones are. I want to go with some EBC Blue Stuff brake pads so I can match what I have in the rear. But I tried to call EBC USA yesterday on Friday, and their office is only open Monday through Thursday, so I'm going to try calling again on Monday morning just to make sure. I did get some feedback. I sent customer service contact us to Summit, and they told me what the right brake pads are for this, for the EBC Blue Stuff. I'm just going to follow up with EBC themselves just to doubly make sure, just so it doesn't get screwed, so I'm not ordering and sending stuff back and forth. I did finally get my fourth wheel back from Ford Star, but it's missing the center cap and the little hub-centric ring or whatever that's supposed to go with it. That didn't get shipped back with the wheel, so I have an email to them and a phone call in with them, so I can hopefully get that. So I'm just out here trying to button a few things up. I did come out here, I did take a little bit of length off of, and it looks kind of crappy, but whatever. Took about 1/2 inch off the end of that radiator hose to kind of pull it away from this bracket a little bit. I did take about 2 inches of length off of this elbow to kind of suck it back towards the engine and hopefully get some clearance around so I can do some air filtration in this general vicinity. And then I'm just kind of moving some hoses around, so hopefully I can get some clearance from the hood. Next thing is, I don't know why I'm so nervous about it, but I spent some good money on that drive shaft. Thanks Andrew Hanlon at Hanlon Motorsports for hooking me up with this. I did pay for it, and so it's not sponsored by them, but Andrew is a great guy. I was actually on the phone with him for a little while talking about my car and what I plan to do with it, and he was just a wealth of knowledge, gave me a bunch of information. I did decide to keep the original diff cover on there, well, what was on it when I got it anyway, and I'm leaving the 355 gears in there, at least for the summer, for the first little while. Maybe I'll end up pulling them out at some point. But yeah, next thing, I'm gonna get that drive shaft up in this car. Again, I'm kind of nervous about it because I gave them a length measurement and I haven't even test fitted it up in the car. I did get some pinion flange bolts and off of Amazon even, and they're genuine Ford parts, so I'm happy about that. So next thing is I'm going to get that drive shaft up in the car. This will be the first time it's had a drive shaft in it since, yeah, October or so of 2019. We pulled the original 5.0 out of here. But yeah, I'm getting closer and closer to getting this car fired up. All right, guys, here you have it. Another big milestone for me. This car has not had a drive shaft in it since October of 2019. And again, thanks to Hanlon Motorsports for helping me figure out what I needed here and getting this drive shaft ordered. Again, not sponsored by them or anything, by Hanlon Motorsports or anything, but just where I ordered it through. Got all these pinion flange bolts cranked down. And the fitment looks pretty good to me. So, did a great job. Got me a nice drive shaft. This thing, I think when I ordered it, he asked like what I plan to do with it, what kind of power, but I think this thing is built up good enough so that like if I ever wanted to supercharge this engine, it'd be in good shape. All right, I just wanted to show this too. So I got the drive shaft all up in here. You can see the e-brake cable's very close to the drive shaft, but I can feel there is room at least. So that's kind of interesting. Since you got the IRS in here, the drive shaft isn't going to move up and down, of course. But yeah, you can kind of see, but it's awful close. Not touching, but it's close. Plenty of room here for the fuel lines. But I just wanted to show that, just to give you an idea of how close of proximity everything is to this drive shaft going to the IRS. Just another little update. I did get a power cable run from the alternator, running it back to my positive cable there. It's a starter cable. I might work on securing this a little bit differently or a little better. I did add another clip here for the ground cable up to the engine block there. I started working on the headers since they're like kind of pointing like when you bolt the tubes up, they kind of point back to the little arches on the stiffer's cross members. So I did put a strap on there and used a torch and kind of heated up the header, and thought I'd just let that sit overnight. Not really hurting anything. I got all the brakes and everything on here now. I don't know if I showed that, but I got brake pads all installed. Got the right ones now. Got the ones that were too big sent back, but they're all sitting in there. All of my brake line fittings are tight. So I did order some .4 brake fluid by the advice of my son, instead of using .3, since we're going to be pushing this car a little bit, hopefully. But I got that on order, and that should hopefully be here tomorrow. And that was my next thought, is I want to get that done, get the brake fluid in there, and get these brakes bled. And then I should be pretty much at the point, well, probably have to do some stuff under the car, but I really need to figure out the exhaust headers point at the little cross member for the transmission, or I guess they don't point at it, but when you put the little coupler on behind them, it's like up against that cross member on one side. So I'm debating what to do about that. I tried a little bit of heat. I didn't get carried away, just took a torch to the headers and tow strap and ratcheting tie down strap and tried to pull them over. They're both angled off to the passenger side, oddly enough. I don't think there's really a way to try to angle the engine over or anything like that, but I don't know. Debating on what I need to do about that. But I was out here last night. I'll show this. I don't know if I've shown these wheels much yet, but I got these guys, all 4 of them ceramic coated. I'm still waiting to hear back from the guy at Forge Star, because when they repaired the one wheel, they didn't send the center cap and the little hub ring back along with the wheel. So I'm waiting to hear back from that guy, and hopefully I'll have those on the way so I can get them mounted up on the car for good. But once I have the brakes bled, I want to get those wheels on it. I want to try getting it on the ground just to see how it looks, get me a little bit more motivated again. All right, not much to show tonight. It's another night later from the last little bit that I recorded. Dropped some fluid in here. This is a used Hydro Boost, but I did use my handy dandy vacuum pump here and broke the bleeders up at the master cylinder. And just with running all this line, I wasn't sure if I was just getting air into the tube just because it had a bunch of length and air in the tube already, so yada yada yada. But I bled it there. Then I went around and bled at all 4 corners, so furthest from the master cylinder and then the driver's side. And I came up here, did both bleeders at the front of the Brembos here. And then over to the other side. Then I tried pumping the brakes. And then I noticed you could kind of pump them up and they'd get firm, but then I noticed I had brake fluid under here. So I found the line from my T, right at the T that goes to the driver's side here. It just needed a little bit more oomph on it. So then I went around, bled everything again, starting at the master cylinder, and went around the car. And I'm happy to report, and I was a little skeptical just because these brake calipers never had any fluid in them. Again, the Hydro Boost was used, but as you can see here, it doesn't go all the way to the floor anymore, and it actually feels somewhat firm. So I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll come back out here tomorrow night, see how it feels, maybe go around one more time, bleed it at all 4 corners. I don't know if I'll bleed it right at the master cylinder or not. Maybe I will, just to make quadruply sure. I don't know, maybe that's what I should do last, but I know everyone talks about bench bleeding the master cylinder, but I kind of figured, well, since it was used but it didn't have any fluid in it, so I just did it on the car at those bleeders. But yeah, feeling pretty good about it. So as long as that's all good, I think tomorrow night, if I have time, I'll get her sit down on the wheels, pop the wheels on, get it sit down on the ground. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Went around, checked for leaks. Like I said, the first time I tried it, it was leaking at a fitting at the T. And then, silly me, the second, I didn't even get to pumping the brakes, and I noticed when I was bleeding, I didn't get that bleeder screw shut all the way. So I had a nice little puddle of fluid on the floor there. I should try my parking brake, see if that works. Ooh, I love it. Feels like there's some good tension on there. Making progress. God, so close to having this car on the road. Shop dog and I are out next day after bleeding the brakes, going around it. I was talking about that before, but I came out here, let it set overnight, went into the car, pushed on the brake pedal, felt pretty firm right away. Maybe went down a little bit further than I expected, but then it built up. It felt like pretty good pressure right away. So feeling pretty good about it right now. I'm going to go around one more time and just kind of pop the bleeders open and bleed it just a little bit again. And then I think we're going to pop those bad boys on the car. So I was messing around with the Mustang a little bit more after getting my brakes bled. I did finally get a hold of my guy at Forge Star. I'm getting the last hubcap, the little center cap and hub rings sent. So I got 3 out of the 4. I left one of the hubcaps off. But I got the wheels on the car here behind me, so I thought I'd do a little reveal of that. The front fender that I have on the car right now is just hanging on there, just hanging on the car. It's not bolted to the car at all, just to get an idea of how it's going to look. But maybe I'll show the side without the fender first. So here's kind of the reveal of the wheels and tires on the car. So this is the first time I think that I think this is the first time that I've had all 4 wheels on the car, of course. It's first time with the tires on it, really. But that's how it looks. So I got a little more work ahead of me doing this just to get some motivation. Here, we'll go around to the passenger side now. Shop dogs, keeping an eye on everything here. But look at them things. Definitely gonna need to do some work, some body work. So I'm still debating if I'm gonna go and get one of those Meyer kits or build my own fender flares. I really want to build my own fender flares so it looks like an OEM fender flare, just huge. And I did notice, I think it is JH Restoration. If you've seen them on Instagram, they're doing I think it's an 85 or 86 GT, and they put some big wide tires on it. And they made their own steel fender flares for it. So here we go. Here's the front fender on the car. Again, not bolted to the car. It's just hanging on the car right now. But give you an idea. It's pretty beefy. But I really like how these wheels look. I really wish I wouldn't have gotten jerked around and had to wait so long to get a hold of someone, especially to get the one wheel shipped back after it was repaired, and then waiting for the last center cap in the hub ring. So I didn't put the driver's side rear doesn't have the little hub ring on it, and I got one center cap left here. But I like it. This thing's gonna be fun. And extensive body work. We got kind of mess in the garage, so ignore that. But the brakes are all bled. Brake pedal actually feels pretty good. I think it just needs to be driven a little and get a little bit more air out of the system. It does feel like initially on the first pump of the brake, it feels a little squishy. And then as soon as you hit it again, it feels pretty firm. So. But that's the car with the wheels on it. Next, I'm going to work on some wiring. Pulling some wiring out of the engine bay, pulling it back into the cab of the car. I'm going to get the passenger seat out of the way and work on building a battery box for this guy.